Okay. So let me ask you, so does anyone, so do you have you learned this before, this arithmetic sequence? If you have learned that before, just type one in the chat box and send it to me. Okay. Good. Someone don't know. I think like 90% of you have learned this before. So don't worry if you never learned this before. It's easy one. So I think it's time to get started. And the first method we're going to learn is how to find the nth term in an arithmetic sequence. All right. So what does that mean? So everyone, I'm going to write down a sequence for you first. Okay, give me a second. Oh, someone please get muted. And the sequence is just, so the first term is 4.
Yeah.
And the second term is 7. The third term is 10. Okay, you read that? You write down that?
Hi.
Okay, works now. So let me write down this sequence for you. Oh, someone have already given me the general term for that. Okay, Luo Xi, you are correct. So let's see the sequence.
Okay.
Okay, so it should be 4, 7, 10, 13. So next one, 16, next one, 19, and all the way to the end. Okay. So the thing is, the question is, what is that 50th term in this sequence? So what does the arithmetic sequence mean? It means the difference between each two adjacent numbers are always the same, right? So you add 3 every time, and we call that 3 the common difference, all right? So, oh, it's 50, sorry, it's 50. So to solve this kind of question, the first thing you need to do is that you need to find the general term of this sequence. And how do we get that? The first step, so if you have if you have taken the short-term courses, I think you know that. So let's just do the review here. First thing is that you find the common difference, which is 3, and let's just write down 3 times n. And n means the term number. Okay, so the term number for 4 is just 1 because it's the first term. And now we need to do the calculation here. Let n equals to 1. See what you get. Okay, let's just do the review here. So 3 times by 1, so you get 3. And 3 times by 2, you got 6. 3 times by 3, you got 9. And you say it's not 4, 7, and 10. So how can I get 4, 7, and 10? You just add 1 to that, right? Add 1 to every term, you got the value of that term. So the second step, you just add 1 to 3n. You get a general term, okay? And the question is, what is 50th term here? You just that n equals to 50. That's going to be the final answer. So when n equals to 50, and the 50th term going to be 50 times by 3 and plus 1. So final answer, what you got? Everyone tap your answer to me. Yep, 151. So that's the answer to this question. All right, so let me ask you one more. What is the, say, 70th term? What is that one? Mm-hmm. What is that one? have your answer to me. So be really careful when you do the calculation here. What is that? Yep, you're right. So basically, we have know the general term, which is 3n add 1. So just put that n by 70, right? So 3 times 70, which is 210, and you add 1 to that is 211. Okay? Are we good, everyone? Do you understand what is happening here? Is that clear? You just give me yes or yep. Okay? All right. So I'm gonna give you a practice question here, everyone. Try to solve this question by yourself. We got this arithmetic sequence, which is 5, 9, 13, 17, and all the way to 145. Question is, what is 25th term of this sequence? You need to find the rule. Yes, the general term first. And then you let that n equals to 25. So you get the answer. Everyone try to solve it. I will give you 1 minute. It's not a hard one. Okay. So I guess like most of you get the correct answer. Mia is not correct. It's not 25. Okay. It's not 25. It's not 105. It's not 99. It's not 102. It's not 106. It's not 100. It's not 104. So you see what's the correct answer?
101.
Yep, it's 101. So let's solve this one together. See what is a step 1 and step 2 and step 3. So step 1. Get the common difference first. And that should be add 4 every time. So what do you get? You got 4 times by n, right? So you just let n equals to 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when n equals to 1, what do you get? When n equals to 1, you get 4. When n equals to 2, 2 times n, you get 8. And 3 times by 4, you got 12. And then next one, 4 times by 4, you got 16. Right? So let's say we're going to move on to step 2. How can I get 5 from 4? I need to add 1 to 4, so that gives me 5, right? So basically for every term, which is added. Get muted, please.
I think everyone heard me say hello.
Get muted.
Oh, I said to speak.
Let's see if I can get muted for some. Where is that one? Where is that one? Okay, there we go. Okay, let's move on. So you see, you need to add 1 to this 4 times by n, right? So 4n add 1. All right. So that is the general term of this sequence. And the question is, what is 25th term? So that should be 4. So step 3. Right? You just let that n equals 25. So step 3, it should be 4 times by 25 and add 1. And we know that the friend numbers, right? 4 times 25 is 100. So you add 1 to that, it's just 101. So that's the answer. Let's do one more practice here. So what is the 33's term? What is that? So just do the calculation. Just replace that n by 33 this time. Yep, you're right. So since we have already know the general term is 4n plus 1, so 4 times 33 at 1. So when you do 4 times 33, what do you get? You got 121, 131, right? And then you add 1, I'm sorry, 132. And you add 1 to that, so it's just 133. So that's the answer to this question. Okay, so I guess we need to move on to the next topic. How to find the term number. All right, so let's take a look at this same question. Also, we got this. So please get muted. Also, we got this arithmetic sequence, which is 5, 9, 13, 17, all the way to 145, right? It's the same sequence here. But the question is, what is the term number of 145? So basically, we got two different methods to solve this question. The first method is that you need to find that general term first, and we have already know that, right? For this same sequence, we know that is 4n add 1. That is the general term. Are we good, everyone? Makes sense? Because the same sequence, we just talked about that one. It's 4n add 1. And n is the term number. Right? And 4n add 1, it's just the value of that term. And now we know the value of the term is 145. So means we need to use the algebra to solve this question. It's just that this 4n add 1 equals to 145 and solve that equation. And that's going to help you to find the term number of 145. Right, so let's solve this one together. 4n equals to 145, take away 1, which is 144. And then you do the division, n equals to 144 divided by 4. Then what you got? Yes, it's 36. You're right, that is correct. You guess 36? Okay, Jason, go ahead. What do you want to say? Nothing? Okay, now I'm going to the method 2 here. So let's say method 2. And as for this method 2 is that, you see, for the second term, this is 9, right? How can I get this 9? I use the first term, add 1 of the common difference, which is 4. Am I right? Okay. And then for the third term, add 2 times the common difference to the first term. Okay. And then let's move on. As for the fourth term, add 3 times the common difference to 5. So 3 times 4, I got 12, add 5, I got 17, right? So you find that if I do 17, take away first term, that way will be 12. And then I use 12 divided by the common difference, which is 4 here. I got 3. That means I add 3 times of the common difference to the first number. So what's going to be the term number of 17? You need to add 1 to 3, right? So that gives us the fourth number. It's 17. Means 17 is the fourth number in the sequence. So can we do the same way for 145? Of course, we can do that. So 100, let me change into another color here. So see 145, take away the first term, which is 5, right? You got 144. Use the last number, take away the first number, and then you do the division. See how many common difference do we have? It's 140, sorry. Let me change it. 140. Okay, 140. And then you divide by 4, which is common difference. So how many common difference do we have here? You do the division. That will be 35. Okay, so if you want to get the answer, you need to add 1 to 35. So 35 add 1, you'll find it's still 36, right? It's 36 as well. Are we good, everyone? Tell me, which method do you prefer? You got method 1 and method 2. So as for the method 2, don't forget to add 1 to 35. And for the method 1, you just solve the equation. Okay, so someone love method 1, someone love method 2. So my suggestion is, everyone, you just need to know what's going on for method 1 and method 2. You need to love both. You need to know how do we use this 2 method to solve the question. All right, so I'm going to look at a question which is find the sum of the arithmetic sequence. All right, so this is the first method that we can use to solve this problem. See, if we got this train, and this train is made up of 8 carriages, each labeled from 1 to 8. So do you know how, the sum of these numbers on 8 carriages? So basically, this arithmetic sequence is just so easy, right? It's because the common difference is 1. So you need to add 1, 2, 3 all the way to 8. And the way we solve this one is that we're gonna write down all these numbers in a reverse way. So I'm gonna write the 8, and then after that I'm gonna write 7, and then 6, 5, and then go to the smallest one in a descending way, right? And see, everyone, we're gonna add these 2 numbers in the same column. What do you get? What is the sum of that 2 numbers? Always 9, right? So how many of 9 do we have here? Tell me, how many of 9? Of course, the last one should be 9 as well. How many times you need to add up of the 9? 8 times, right? Because if you count it, if you count from 1 to 8, you will have 8 numbers here. So it means you got 8 of 9. The 8 of 9, right? But is that the sum of this sequence? Nope. We just double the sum of the sequence. So it means we need to divide that by 2 because we got 2 of the train, right? The same train. So divide by 2, you know the sum equals to 36. If you do 1 add 2 all the way to 8. So do we have some conclusion here? So where is that 9 come from? You add 1 and 8, you get 9, right? And 1 is the first number of our sequence, and 8 is just the last number of our sequence. Okay, so let's say the sum gonna equal to, you see, at last we need to divide by 2, so I'm gonna write down the divide by 2 first. And what's gonna be in the numerator? It should be the first number, right? I'm gonna write down first and add the last number, which is 8 here. And you need to times by, so you see here it's 9, so it's 8, right? What does that 8 mean? It means how many numbers do we have? So it should be the total number of terms. It's the total number of terms. Okay. Are we good? So everyone just remember this formula here for an arithmetic sequence. The sum equals to the first number add the last number, and then times the total number of terms. Okay. All right. So I guess it's time to move on the practice questions here. Everyone, I'm gonna give you 1 minute. Try to solve this question. And what's your option? What's your choice? If you want to add 1, 2, 3, all the way to 29, what's gonna be the sum? If you feel confused, I'm gonna show you again through this question. Everyone, don't forget to divide by 2. Okay. 1 minute. Everyone just try to solve this question by yourself. Okay, so the correct answer should be the choice B here. This one. Are you correct? Yep, it's B. So first, I'm going to use the formula. So the sum, remember that one, equals to the first number add the last number, which is 29 here. And you put that in a bracket, and then times the total numbers we have here. So how many terms do we have? If you count from 1, 2, 3, all the way to 29, you will get 29 numbers. And then you need to divide that by 2, because if you do so, you just repeat this sequence by 2 times, right? So that should be 30 times 29, and then divide by 2.
That's
Shh, get muted. All right. So do you know how to use the fast calculation to solve this? This to reduce this thing here. So what I'm going to do is that let's do 30 divided by 2 first. It's 15 times by 29, and 15 equals to 10 plus 5, and then times by 29. And it'll be 290 add 5 times this number, right? So what is that? Or you could do 30 times 30 and take away a number, right? Yeah. So what's the answer?
2 rows is 60 at the moment.
Okay.
What's that?
10.
435.
435, yes. So another way you could do is that 15 times, let's say 30, right? And then take away 15. So it should be 450 take away 15. So you could do both ways, right? Because we have talked about that in the first lesson. So it's 435, and for this one, 5 times 29, that should be 145. So you add that, you still got this 435. So 2 different methods. Are we good, everyone? So it's 435.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
All good. Good.
I'm all good.
Security, we got a button. Okay, let's see, where is the security here? Security. Oh, thank you.
One Piece.
Where's the teacher?
Give me a second.
Okay.
Can you hear me, everyone? Okay. Let's go. Let's go to the next question here. The practice question number 2. All right. So see, we got this arithmetic sequence and each bolt below has its own number. What is the sum of all the numbers on the bolts? Do you remember that formula? The sum equals to the first number add the last number in the bracket times how many numbers do we have and then divide by 2. So the first one is 3, the last one is 30, right? Times how many numbers do we have here? Someone just sent me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the sum is 10, not 5. Okay, let's say if you got this sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, it is an arithmetic sequence, right? So if you use this formula, sum equals to the first number, which is 1, and you add last number, which is 4, right? And times how many numbers do you have? Then how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 numbers, right? You times by 4. So what do you get? If you don't divide by 2, you got 20. Is that 10? No. Make sense? So you need to divide by 2, you got 10. Are we good? Are we good now? Make sense? Yeah. So everyone, let's try to find the general formula, the general term here. So we know the common difference is the 3 every time. So you need to get this 3 times n. And when you do n equals to 1, you'll find it's just 3. So you don't need to add or take away anything from it. So the general term is just 3 times n. And you get 3n equals to 30. That tells you how many numbers do you have. So n equals to 10. You got 10 numbers in total, right? So you times 10. So what's the answer? You do 33 times by 10 and then divide by 2. So basically it's 33 times 5. The answer is just 165. So you need to choose C over here. Okay, are we good? Everyone, does it make sense? If you got any questions, you can just type your answer in type your question in the chat box and let me know. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the last question today. It's a method 4. We need to find the sum using the median number. I'm gonna give you some example here. You need to find that pattern by yourself. Why do you divide by 2? Okay, so let me repeat this again. Okay, if we do have this, sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's easy one, right? And I need to get the sum of all the 5 numbers. And then the method is that, why do you need to times by 10? Okay. So, but let's say the method is that you just write all the numbers in a reverse way. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so if you get the sum of all these 10 numbers, you just double the sum. Means you need to divide by 2 to get one of the sum, right? Because for this sequence and this second sequence, if you add that 5 numbers all together, you'll get the same thing. Because we just changed the order. We never changed the numbers. If you do so, let's just add these numbers in the column. And you will find it's much easier for each column to calculate, right? Because it's 6 all the time. Okay, so how many 6 do we have here? Got 5, 6. And what does that fact mean? That means how many numbers do we have in the sequence? So you do 6 times by 5, right? And then you divide by 2, because if you do 6 times by 5, it's 30. And 30 means the sum of 2 sequences. It's not 1. So you need to divide by 2 to get the sum of each sequence, right? So that's why we need to divide by 2 will give us 15. All right, everyone. Are we good? Yep. No worries. Okay. So I'm gonna clean this page. So everyone, if you feel it's confused to you, you can send me a message in the WeChat. Okay, in the WeChat group. Let's go. So let's say, look at this sequence. It's 2, 8, and 14. So when you add that 3 numbers, you see, is that arithmetic sequence? Yes, it is, right? And common difference is 6. So what is the sum, everyone? What do you get? Everyone, let me ask you one more question. Can you hear me clearly? If you can hear me clearly, just give me yes. Let's say. So only one of you cannot hear me. Maybe you can, my suggestion is that you can just change your device, okay? And then I'm going to talk about this question now. So if you get the sum, it will be what number? 24, right? So let's move on. 3, 6, and 9. What is the sum? What is that sum? It's 18. So one more. Third one, let's do 94, 97, 100, 103, 106. What is the sum? It's 500. Yeah. And then one more. 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, 17, and 20. What's the sum? What do you get? It's 77. Okay. So everyone tell me, what is the relationship between the sum and the number in the middle? You found that? The pattern here. You get it? Yes. So everyone, if you got an arithmetic sequence and that sequence, you know, the total number of terms is an odd number, means we got this number in the middle, which is a median number. And the sum just equal to that one, that value of the number of the term times by how many terms do you have in total. So this 24 just equals to 8 times by 3 because you got 3 terms. And this 18 equal to 6 times by 3. And also for 500, it's just the median number, which is 100 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 numbers, right? So times by 5. As for 77, it's going to be 11 times by 7. Are we good? Make sense? So let's say I'm going to give you a question. I have an arithmetic sequence which has 13th term. It's got 13th term in total. 13th term. And when I know that the 7th term is 5. So what is the sum of this sequence? You know how to get that fast? That's clever. Very good. Just use that 7th term, which is 5, and the 5 is this number in the medium, times how many terms do you have, right? You got 13 terms. So it's just 5 times 13. And that is 65. The sum is 65. All right, so let's go to the last page today, everyone. Try to use the method that we just talked about and get the sum of all these two sequences. So you need to count that. Is that the total? Is that the number, the term number, an odd number? If it is, you just choose the number in the middle and times how many numbers do you have, right? Is that an odd? Yes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the middle is 70. So for the first one, what's your answer, everyone? It should be 69 times by 7. Yeah. So the sum will be 483. And for the next one, the median number is just 70, and we got 9 numbers here. So times by 9, you got 630. All right. Are we good, everyone? That's all for today. Because we'll just use someone to understand this. So actually, I'm gonna explain this one more time. You see, if you add this 63 and 77 together, and this 63 is 7 less than the number in the middle, and 77 is just 7 more than the number in the middle. So it means if you add these two all together, if you add these two numbers together, one of that is take away 7. Another one is add 7 to 70. So it means the sum of these two numbers is 2 times 70. Does it make sense? Okay. And now you can move on. As for these two in the triangle. So for the 56 and 84, you add that two numbers. It's also double the 70. So you can move on to these squared numbers. Okay, you add that two, you'll find it's 140. And for these two, you add that, it's always 140, means 2 times of 70. So if you do so, you just use 70, the median number, times how many numbers you have in total. And that will be the sum. Is that clear? Okay. That's it, everyone. Let's call it a day. Hope you enjoy this lesson, and we'll see you